Freddie Roach, who is entering his second season as Alabama's D-line coach. First season was this past year as he came over from Ole Miss. So what's special here about Freddie is Freddie understands what it means to know the expectations of Alabama fans. He understands the standard of Alabama football. He knows what this fan base is requiring from this defense. And the reason why he knows, Freddie is a threat in three words of the imagination. So, number one, Freddie is from the state. Freddie is from Killen, Alabama, so he's an in-state guy, right? And then Freddie played at Alabama. He was a linebacker here, and a decorative one at that, from 2001 to 05. Then Freddie was a coach on the staff. He was a strength and conditioning guy in the early part of a Nick Saban run. I think he was here from 2008 to 2010. If that stat is quoted correctly, I believe it is, but we'll definitely fact check that. But he's a native of the area. He played linebacker for Alabama. He was a coach early on in the Nick Saban era. So Freddie Roach thoroughly understands what it means to be successful here. He thoroughly understands the impact of this program. He thoroughly understands the tradition of this program. So when you have somebody here that thoroughly gets it, you don't have to really say much to get that guy going. You don't really have to say much to get that guy fired up. You don't really have to say much to have what needs to be done. But in the case of Coach Roach here, you have a defensive line that everybody's been talking about, for quite some time, especially the last few years. Does Alabama have those guys that can affect the quarterback? Does it have those guys that can knock up running backs, stuff running backs for loss of yardage? Does it have those guys that can win the point of attack at the line of scrimmage and create that constant penetration and create that constant havoc and create that constant chaos? I believe it does. I believe it does this year, and I think Freddie Roach is going to get the utmost out of those guys. So as we look here, the three expectations for Coach Roach as they're coming up on screen, number one is going to be, Alabama's got to be able to stop the run. It cannot have a 100-yard rusher on it this season. It cannot have teams just slashing it and gashing it and pounding it, in the run game. Bama's got to stop the run, get that penetration into the backfield, and have those negative plays. We saw it times last year, whether it was DJ Dale or whomever, up front, Alabama not consistently getting that penetration up front. You had Ole Miss, who had Snoop Connor and Jerrion Ely both go over 100 yards rushing. You had, other matchups where the team Alabama played as a team went over 100, plus yards rushing. And for Alabama in years past, it has prided itself on, you are not going to run the ball on us. You may get some plays in the passing game. You may get a few. But you are not going to just line up, man up, hat on a hat, and just plow the ball right down our gullet. You're not going to do that. Bama took serious pride in that. So that pride has to return, with this defense and especially this front unit, and not allowing opposition to just line up man on man, whether it's zone gapping schemes, man gap, man blocking schemes, whatever the case may be, and just run this ball on the Crimson Tide. So Freddie Roach has to have this group physically, mentally tough in the trenches to create the penetration, stopping the run there. Number two, Alabama up front, got to get that consistent pressure to the quarterback. And we know what Will Anderson can do. He's the big, bad pass rusher. We know what Will Anderson can do. We know what Chris Allen can do. We saw this last year. Finally healthy, 6 sacks, 13 tackles for loss. We get that. But the question becomes, the guys up front, the guys on the front line, from defensive end to defensive end, can Alabama get that consistent pass rush with guys like Phil Mathis, with LeBron Ray, with Tim Smith, with DJ Dale, with Jamarian Latham, with Jamil Burrows, with whomever is rotated in off the bench to get in there? Can Alabama get this consistent pass rush affecting the quarterback, putting that clock in the quarterback's mind? Hey, I got to get rid of the ball now because my dome is about to be decapitated from my body. Can Alabama have those guys get after the quarterback consistently from the word go? That's going to be a big thing there for Coach Roach. And then last but not least, it will be in terms of having no drop-off in production when substitutions are being made. This is what made Alabama's defense so great and unique 2015 to 2017 and in the years prior to those years under Nick Saban is you would have a Jonathan Allen on the field. She would be wrecking quarterbacks, getting 4 to 5 sacks or, as many sacks as he can get out there. Jonathan Allen has to come out for a play. Coach, need a breather. Pull me out. You would put a Deshaun Hand out there on the field in Allen's place, and there'll be no drop-off. Deshaun Hand will get like 3 to 4 to 5 sacks, keeping that production going. The same thing on the defensive tackle spot, the same thing if you have a defensive end position. Bama has always had, the main starters go in, the starters whipping up on the offensive line, shutting down the run, sacking the quarterback. The starter needs a drink of water. They'll come off the field. Next guy off the bench comes in. He's whipping up on the offensive tackle. He's whipping up on the offensive guard. He's penetrating the running back in the backfield. He's sacking the quarterback. And the offensive coordinator's going, holy crap. I just saw our starter come off the field. Who's making these sacks? And it's the backup guy, because the backup guy is just as intense, probably even more intense as the starter. So that's number 3. Can Alabama have that? Can Coach Roach bring that on the defensive line where, Phil Mathis is on the field, he's beating down his guy, Phil comes out, next guy comes in, no drop in production, right? DJ Dill or Tim Smith whipping up on their guy, they come out, another guy comes in, no drop-off. Same thing for Brian Ray on down the line. Can it be consistent production even when the substitutes, even when the backups come into the football game? That's the big thing there for Freddie Roach in terms of this season. So as you look at it, Bama being able to stop the run, Bama being able to consistently get pressure to the quarterback up front, and then Bama, that no drop-off in production where substitutions are concerned. These 3 are going to be pivotal for Freddie Roach as somebody who knows the expectations and the desires of this program.